the big thing that I want to talk to you about today is not worrying so much that what you say is going to annoy, offend, all of those things. Because as soon as you do that, you stop being you. You stop saying the things that you really want to say. Now, we know that if you want to be a thought leader, and so many of you have told me you do want to be thought leaders have thoughts. It means you have to be able to say the things you really want to say. And yet, everybody is holding themselves back in case somebody disagrees with them. In case somebody says, well, I'm offended by that. I had somebody just 2 days ago. I started talking about how we really need to have an email list. It's really important because all of our social media is on borrowed land. And somebody got very offended by it and said I shouldn't be talking about things like that while what's happening with TikTok is happening with TikTok, because they're offended. Other people will be offended because they've lost their livelihoods, etc. If we can't talk about the things we want to talk about in case one person gets annoyed by it, we'll stop talking. I haven't ever sent an email out, and we send 3 emails out a week, that hasn't had somebody write back to me, no matter what the subject is, to tell me that they're offended or they're annoyed by what I'm saying. Now, even if I really tried to say nothing that can be controversial in any way, even if I really tried to be as vanilla as possible and play nice and make sure that I was liked by everybody, then I promise you someone would still be annoyed. We had somebody, I was talking about how I went out for Mother's Day in an email. We had people write into me saying that they were disgusted that I would talk about Mother's Day when there are people that can't have kids. I also talked about going out for a steak at one point in an email. I had vegetarians get in touch with me to say that they're unfollowing me because I talked about steak. I wrote about those 3D pictures. Do you remember those 3D pictures when we were younger, that you'd have to look through to see a picture? Now that seemed like something that was so, how could that harm anyone, right? And I started off the email saying, do you remember when we had those pictures when we were younger? And we had a 2-page A4 email back to us saying that they were offended. And I asked my team, what do you think that this person could have been offended by this email? And they were scouring through it to find it. And it was that some people have memory loss. So me writing, do you remember, had triggered them and offended them. As soon as I got that email, I stopped trying. I stopped trying to be everybody's best friend. I stopped trying to make sure that everybody liked me and that no one would ever be offended by anything that I said, because it made me realize one thing. It doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't matter what you say. Somebody is always going to feel triggered by you or offended by you. And if you play that game, then make sure that you realize that within a year, you will be saying nothing that you want to say. All you'll be doing is not standing out. You'll be doing all of those things that we see on those, the Instagram accounts, where everything is it's just the same as everybody else, because you're not daring to say what you really think. Now, I'm a huge believer that if you want people to buy from you, people have to not just resonate with you, but believe in some of the values that you have, believe in some of the things you talk about. That's what thought leaders do. That's why they take an idea and turn it on its head. That's why they sometimes disrupt the industry, because they're saying things that other people won't say but probably still think. And that's why people are attracted to them. So if you're looking at your messaging and you're looking at primary messaging and secondary messaging, then your secondary messaging needs to be something that provokes a reaction. It needs to be something that starts a movement. It needs to be something you really believe in. But if you really believe in something and then you go to talk about it to see if other people feel the same as you, and then you stop in case one person is annoyed, how is that ever going to help you? You need to start showing up as if you were already cancelled. What would you say if you were already cancelled? Say those things. Stop being afraid all the time of what other people might think of you. You don't need everybody to like you. You don't. There's plenty of people get by in this life and make a lot of money with 95% of the people not liking them. They still do well because the 5% that agree with them buy from them. So stop thinking everyone has to like you or that you can't cope with confrontation. If someone says something online that says, I'm offended by this, that's okay. You can respond to it or not. That's up to you, but it's okay that they're offended by it. You haven't offended them. They are offended. Just like you'll never intimidate anyone. You're not intimidating. People are intimidated. We need to turn it round. People choose how they get to feel. You shouldn't be choosing what you post in case somebody decides to feel a certain way. That's not how it works. So much of this is about intention. As long as what you put out there is intended for good, you're not going out there intending to annoy people. You're not going out there intending to write something that people are going to be pissed off by. Like, let's not do that. But if the intention is good, then that matters. Lots of people will tell you that the intention doesn't matter. It's how someone takes it. It's how someone feels it. No, we all get a choice of how we want to feel. We all get a choice of whether we're going to take something to mean that it was about us or bad, or whether we're going to say, okay, this is just a difference of opinion and that's okay. So that is my little lesson for today. There's too many people holding themselves back, and so they're not being noticed at all because they're trying to be thought leaders without any thought so that they don't annoy anyone. Conversation and learning and understanding soon closes down if people are offended by every single thing. Yeah, it really does. And what ends up happening is we all put ourselves in these echo chambers where we're only with people that think exactly the same as us. And I think that's a real bad thing, because if we're only there with yes people, with people agreeing with us, with no discourse, with no debate on things, then we never learn and we can never teach. Because if we get rid of anyone in our feed that thinks differently to us, then we'll feel lovely and safe and like everything we say is right, but we'll have nobody to challenge, and challenging is good. It's okay to be challenged, but you'll never be challenged if you don't say anything that can be challenged, because you're tiptoeing so much around the eggshells. We need to stop this. We need to start saying the things that we want to say. And that's what I've been doing for the last year, is showing up as if I've already been cancelled. And it's so freeing, because some of you are reading Let Them by Mel Robbins. And it's a really good book that helps with this showing up as if you've already been cancelled, because if somebody is annoyed at you, let them. If somebody is feeling like you shouldn't have said that, let them feel that. If someone does a whole post about you, as that happened to me last week, about something you've said because they're offended by it, let them. It doesn't matter. You're going to be okay. Even if you say things that other people don't like, people will still buy from you. The people that agree with you or don't even agree with you, I have lots of people that don't agree with me that still buy from me, because they understand that we're all different people with different opinions and that that's okay.